Devil's Due. So setup is, I mean, through the now extremely well-worn medium of video diary slash surveillance footage, everything you see appears to have been recorded on cameras. So story is, we see a young couple, they're in love, they're going to be married, they get newlywed, they go to the Dominican
Banging
Republic.
the table, by the way.
I'm really sorry.
People think there are burglars in the house. Please stop.
Okay, if you think there, okay, there aren't. It's just me banging the table. This sound,
might be.
this I know. That's why I wasn't going any further with it. That sound is the sound of me banging the table. I'm sorry. You could give me a padded desk.
I'll come out. I'll give you my scarf to tie your hands together if you like.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Now I won't be able to talk. So anyway, so they go off to the Dominican Republic. They get taken off somewhere very, very sinister. And the next thing you know, it's Rosemary's Baby all over again. Then they come back home, and she starts doing really weird things, behaving strangely, scratching strange markings on the floor, eating raw meat. Have we seen this before? May have done. Here's a clip.
Brayden.
Brittany, come on, kids, time to go.
Brayden, come out. It's not funny anymore. Brayden.
That's the general gist of it. Because
What was going on there?
well, there was somebody looking for somebody else in a house, and then some creepy stuff was happening.
Who were they looking for?
They were looking for a friend of theirs. That was actually the only usable clip we can get, because the problem often in the case of if you've got video diary or surveillance footage or found footage or whatever it is, any of these films, from Blair Witch through Paranormal Activity, they're very, very hard to get audio clips from because they're not designed for audio clippage. So the big champion of this film is Eli Roth, who is not a man known for his originality. And what Eli Roth says is, look, just because Rosemary's Baby is a Holy Grail movie, there's no reason to don't prejudge, Devil's Due, because, hey, and to give it the benefit of the doubt, if you are a total sort of horror newbie, you may well find yourself, moderately interested and scared by it. I mean, it's not just quite bang in the manner of so many things. It's it sort of does what it does in a perfectly effective way. The problem is that it's one thing, tipping your hat towards your sources. It's another thing making the audience think that what you're watching is a checklist of you going, okay, that's the plot from Rosemary's Baby. And incidentally, apparently there's a prop from Rosemary's Baby actually appears in the film as well.
Prop and the plot.
A prop and the plot. So you go, okay, that's the plot from Rosemary's Baby. That's the demon baby thing from It's Alive and The Omen. And that's the sticking to the wall set piece from Amityville 2 and Exorcist 3. And that's the found footage thing from... And it's... So the problem is that in order for the film not to just play like a kind of hits on 45 compilation of everything else you've seen, you basically have to have seen nothing else. And that doesn't mean... I mean, I found it, for example, more watchable than The Conjuring, which everybody loved, but I just thought was absolutely quite bang. It's not quite that. I'm very, very tired of the found footage, surveillance footage, motif, because the problem with that is that the minute you see something now that comes on as one of those films, you think, okay, I'm going to have to spend 25 minutes just watching people do not very much, which will pass as, establishing them as real characters before stuff starts going awry. And it's kind of like, I'd rather have the shorthand and go, yeah, okay, fine, I'll take it on trust that they're interesting characters. Now, can the scary stuff start happening? And some of the scary stuff, some of the individual scenes, there was one moment in it when I went, ooh, I had a little bit of a frisson, a little bit of a shiver, but that's it. So it's not terrible by any means. It's stunningly unoriginal, actually quite frighteningly unoriginal, and there are moments in it in which you just think, it's like Rosemary's Baby's baby. It's like, I think I have seen every single individual element of this.
Is the scariest thing about it its unoriginality?
Well, for me, bear in mind, I mean,
You're hardcore.
I've had this conversation with Nigel Floyd a lot recently. I said, do you think there is a point when you become a 50-year-old film fan, and you've seen horror movies since you were like a teenager, and you've just seen everything? And the answer, there's nothing scary. And the answer is no, because there are still films that I find frightening. There are moments in Pan's Labyrinth that I found really chilling and really scary. There are, there are still things that absolutely can be original. But in the case of this, it's a film which flaunts its lack of originality, so much so that Eli Roth has actually felt it necessary. Eli was just a flag waver for the film to stand up and say, look, just because it's Rosemary's Baby doesn't mean it isn't any good. To which the answer is no, it doesn't. But you know what? It is Rosemary's Baby, which is kind of something of an issue. So it's It is a functional, found footage, derivative horror movie with not an original idea in its head.
Fine.
But executed in a way which, if you haven't seen any of those other films before, might be perfectly possible on a Friday night.